Hello and welcome to the MonsterVine podcast. I am your editor-in-chief, William Saw, and joining us for our E3 2015 edition is Austin Adamson, our senior editor,
Hey.
and Diego Escala, our reviews
Hey.
editor. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Yeah, recovering.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of recovering this weekend.
Yeah, just good to be off my feet for a couple days and just relax for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week for both of us. We were at the show, got to see a lot of video games, but I guess overall atmosphere-wise, it's probably my favorite of the favorite E3 so far. What about you, Austin?
Yeah, it's just the games, man. All of the games that were brought and announced and just surrounded this show have been kind of bigger and more powerful than any year I can remember. It's been really exciting.
And Diego, since you were watching it online and all that, you got to see all the reactions. How's that?
I mean, I think the thing that really made this E3 just like so big was like probably 100% Sony dropping those 3 bombshells. Like if it wasn't for those 3 things, I don't think the reaction would be as crazy. Because that's all anyone's been talking about, those 3 games, right?
Yeah, they were playing on people's nostalgia. It seems like they knew which of the weapons to bring out.
Yeah. They basically pulled a Nintendo from 2 years ago when the Wii U was just coming out.
Yeah, I think they did it better than Nintendo has in recent years. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, you were actually at the Sony press conference.
Yeah.
So what was like the biggest reaction out of that?
I think it was just a non-stop jaws stuck open for most of the show. Like they opened with The Last Guardian. Like they opened with the show with a showstopper. Like that. My reaction was, man, if they're starting with The Last Guardian, what else is going to be in this? And sure enough, there were some talks, I guess some leaked documents or rumors leading up to the show that we'd get Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Shenmue 3 was teased ever so subtly as well, but just the crowd reaction, I thought some people were gonna like break down into tears, just screaming and yeah, people were standing up and cheering. It was weird. I mean, I personally don't have much of a connection with any of those 3 games, but I understand why people go crazy for them, and and that it is a big deal, but it just didn't hit me in the same way as some of these people in the Sony audience.
I think it's
No, and what was
because
that?
this is like kind of fan fiction. Like these are
Yeah,
games that everyone talks about, but you don't really know if they're actually coming out.
yeah,
Like,
these go on the wish list. Like, which games do you hope to see at E3 this year? And it's always something like Final Fantasy VII Remade or Shenmue 3, and usually there's just no chance. And to see these both get announced, and then to see that The Last Guardian is still around, is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
yeah, it's sort of an interesting take because I guess overall themes wise, there was a lot of Japanese representation at E3 this year than previous shows. I guess mainly how like Platinum is dipping their hands into every uh, like console. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo all have a Platinum game being worked on, and
Yeah, they're doing what? Star Fox Zero. Uh,
yeah, the Star Fox Zero campaign.
right. What else? What are they doing for Microsoft?
Are they actually working on the campaign? I thought they were just doing art design.
Hmm. We'll have to check back on that. But for Microsoft, they're working on Scalebound, which
Oh,
is
right. Yeah, which was absent from the show, but still being worked on. That's right.
and, and Sony's getting near as an exclusive with through Square Enix. So
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah, Platinum and then the new Transformers games that was leaked, uh,
Right.
which wasn't actually looking too bad.
Yeah, I really like the art style, and I wasn't a big fan again of like the animated series, but it's pretty cool that they're getting a lot of the original cast and kind of really styling the game after some of the older content from the Transformers series.
Yeah, I do remember that demo kind of fondly because the voice acting that they brought in was like very notable people from people who like voiced the original Transformers cartoons.
Yeah, it's really cool. I always love when a when different mediums can cross contaminate with actors and writers to give a much more cohesive universe and a just a better feeling franchise altogether. But yeah, Japanese developers did make an appearance even on Microsoft stage with that big Recore announcement,
Yeah, I like
getting
that.
Inafune on there with the Metroid Prime creators is it's pretty surprising. That one caught me off guard. Just to see a big Japanese developer on a Microsoft stage doing something new and hopefully good. It looks interesting, the Recore game. So I got high hopes for it.
Well, you actually got a picture with Inafune
Yeah,
and
yeah. Yeah, I was at an Xbox event and they were there just kind of mingling with fans, and I put on a goofy face, and the Recore team that was with them, like some people from Japan and some people from America just started laughing at our goofy smiles, and yeah, it was a pleasure to meet them and kind of just say hi. But
yeah,
yeah.
Diego, did you see any like notable Japanese studios coming out with games that you're interested in this E3?
I mean, pretty much almost everything they came out with was something interesting to me. I mean, there were just like this was one year where almost every game that was shown was something interesting. Like I didn't see anything that I was like, that looks like garbage. Besides, like that Metroid game Nintendo showed.
Well, maybe we shouldn't even talk about Nintendo. Nintendo's kind of lackluster all the way around. Like, if we want to go
Yeah,
kind of like, well, Sony and Microsoft had impressive Japanese developers. The kind of projects coming out of Nintendo, they had what, Mario Maker and Mario RPG that looked interesting to me. I guess Star Fox to some extent, but it looks just like
I
another
was
Star Fox game.
yeah, I was really disappointed in that because it just I saw it and then I was like, how did this barely looks any different from Star Fox 64,
Yeah,
like gameplay wise.
they definitely, I think, want to evoke that feeling of, hey, remember Star Fox 64 that you loved? But I think we're gonna have to see a lot more versatility in the
Yeah,
gameplay. Like Star Fox 64, you could kind of plow your way through in a half an hour if you're good at it.
yeah.
Like even on your first try, if you're just pretty good at games, it's not
Well,
difficult. The mechanics aren't too challenging.
knowing
So
Nintendo, it's probably gonna be super short. They're probably gonna
yeah,
say length doesn't matter, fun matters.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Did they really just show off just the campaign or the multiplayer aspects?
It was campaign
Yeah, it's just
because they
campaign.
showed off, yeah, the little tank thing, and then the raptor mode, and then spaceship mode. I don't know. I thought the tank and the raptor looked kind of dumb. Reminded me of the GameCube version,
Oh yeah, I never
and that
played that
that
one.
wasn't that's not a good thing to remind people of.
Yeah. No.
Like it,
Nintendo plays by their own rules. They don't have an official press conference here at the show anymore. And I remember in
Yeah.
some years they even like saved their bigger announcements for a couple weeks after E3. So hopefully, they were only talking about games coming out this year and early part of next year. So hopefully we see some big announcements for, I don't know, summer of 2016.
yeah. I mean, if you look at in comparison to Sony or Microsoft, they just didn't have the impact that they had. But um, yeah, I really felt like Nintendo could have just announced whatever for 2016, and I would have been more impressed than I guess what's slated to come out this year or next year or early next year.
Yeah, Microsoft and Sony started. Microsoft started strong. Sony kept it going, and then Nintendo really dropped the ball, and it's kind of like they're losing their position as the one of the big three at E3.
Well,
But,
hopefully next year when they announce their new console.
right, yeah, the NX. Hopefully, it blows us all away.
Oh, great. I guess another thing I saw just overall like themes of E3 was there's a lot of women representation in video games. I guess for like Tomb Raider, the new Mirror's Edge, Horizon was one that really just like captured my attention because it was like a apocalyptic video game. So it's just weird seeing that kind of like art aesthetic being a AAA game, but that was, yeah, there's a lot of diversity coming to video games, more
Right.
so than previous years.
Yeah, the big publishers and are kind of like answering the call that from female gamers or from just fans of the interactive medium in general, kind of letting you choose your gender of the protagonist, or even kind of telling a story from a female perspective. It's refreshing to see a new outlook. Yeah, we saw even Recore on Microsoft stage was just a girl and her dog, her robot dog, kind of raiding tombs maybe, or looking for treasure. Not sure, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. And even where was that at Bethesda's press conference? We saw the new Dishonored, which will let you play as a female, and they even had their demo as a with a woman, which is interesting. It's a I wonder if they're trying to just please the fans, or if they're trying to just diversify the stories that they're telling.
I think it's definitely time for the medium to just not be like dude bros shooting, I guess, in the forefront anymore.
Yeah.
I think it does give a little bit more of a flavor having, I guess, seen from the female or women's perspective of like that kind of story, crafted story around that.
Yeah, as long as they deliver on it, and it's not just like good PR like that. As long as they're actually putting an effort into making these meaningful differences, and because we've been seeing games like this, in the indie scene for since indie games started, and it's refreshing to see some of the bigger publishers follow suit.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed by that. I guess another uh, big trend this E3 was a lot of the virtual reality devices that were being shown off on the show floor. I know the Oculus had a really big booth, uh, and then Austin and I were at the Walking Dead premiere party where
Yeah.
Starbreeze announced their own VR device. What did you think of that?
That really caught me off guard. I guess Starbreeze is big enough, and they bought or paid for a company to develop their VR tech, but I guess it's good. Like, the more competition, the better, as long as they're putting in a good effort and trying to make a decent product and not just cash in on the kind of craze that's going on with VR. But yeah, Star VR kind of they showed like one of their demos was kind of like a on rail shooter where you're seated and you're wearing the headset, which is a 5K resolution and something like a 210 degree viewing angle, which is probably looks great. I didn't get to see it myself, but then they had a fake shotgun with kind of visual sensors on it, so that the headset could interpret where you're pointing the gun and kind of react accordingly. And that kind of VR is very interesting, and I think will be the most impactful on player experiences, bringing like real world objects or controls and blurring the lines between the physical space and the virtual one. Kind of like what Oculus is trying to do with their Half Moon touch controllers, or whatever they're calling those. And also kind of what Microsoft is doing with HoloLens, just going in the augmented reality instead of just completely virtual. Kind of, it's easier to I guess to control the environment and to trick the mind into thinking the experience is real when you're grounding the experience in reality.
Yeah, I thought Microsoft had that really impressive Minecraft showing.
Yeah.
Like, it's really ridiculous, but if that's gonna be the future, I mean, like, I guess cost factor wise, is this something that's a viable thing to purchase? I guess.
As long as we don't have to buy all of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Diego? What does this interest you? Are you gonna grab one
I
of
mean,
these things?
like I was considering grabbing one when Oculus first was revealed, but like now I feel like the market's already oversaturated with these products before we even have an actual product on the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everyone's got one coming out, so it's like, well, which one should I get now?
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't fragment the like development process, and hopefully like developers are kind of able to bring their creations to multiple platforms with ease. Otherwise, yeah, we're gonna see it's just a weird broken launch of VR, and it might not stick around for long if that's the case.
Yeah, like it might have like a Guitar Hero Rock Band situation, but much
Right?
earlier.
Yeah. That's a good point. Something like that, where yeah, you're either one or the other, and then they're competing, and then everyone has all these fake plastic headsets and helmets everywhere, and then no one's got the right games or the right experiences, and yeah,
Like,
well,
I mean,
I
it's
hope that's not
cool
the
that
case.
Starbreeze got into it, but I don't see why they got into it.
You know, they must have their vision. You know, all these developers have been talking about how exciting it is to work with VR, and you know, to make their worlds and their visions a more kind of in-depth experience, and in a way that they haven't been able to share previously. So maybe they're just excited for that, and they thought, hey, we can do
Yeah,
this better. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I figured maybe they'd
Oculus
like partner
has,
up with a
yeah, yeah,
yeah, like if
like
they had like partner up with Oculus or something, saying, "Hey, we have an idea that would be really cool. Maybe we should get together." Instead of like saying, "Oh, let's just make our own headset," and like
yeah,
totally pull a THQ.
right. The draw type
Yeah,
scenario. Well, you know, maybe Microsoft is doing the smart thing then. They've announced their partnerships with, you know, Oculus, bundling a controller, an Xbox One controller, and they have their Steam VR partnership, which who knows what that actually means, but you know they're going to help get VR working for Steam on Windows, which makes sense since they're a platform holder. But then they're also working on their HoloLens, so it seems
yeah.
like they're trying new things, but also kind of supporting all the others, and so that I hope that works out.
Like the optimist in me hopes that they're just like super friendly and generous and they're just supporting everyone. But like deep down, I know that they're doing this for some reason. Like I'm trying to figure out why they would possibly help out two of their competitors.
Maybe they just don't see them as competitors. Like I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know, but why help them out if they don't intend to make more money from it?
Well, maybe because you know if they make Windows 10 like the premier operating system for VR, that people will stick to Windows. I don't know, because if you're gaming, you're mostly gonna be gaming on Windows
Yeah,
anyway.
but
So
that's a different part of Microsoft though. That's not like connected with the part that's the Xbox part. That's probably
but they're trying. I think they're trying to connect a little more with that. Like I mean, we had Phil Spencer on the PC gaming press conference
Right.
trying to tout like Microsoft is gonna try and make PC gaming relevant, like they're in their world. Because you know he said in the past, you know they've dropped the ball and not given PCs the attention that they deserve. So I
they
don't know. Maybe
haven't.
they're yeah no games for Windows Live. It's a rocky past for them. But
Yeah. Well,
VR, man.
VR is the future, I guess,
VR,
for now.
AR. Just give me that altered, augmented, virtual reality.
I know. I want that. I want gamer to be a real thing.
uh,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that. I mean, for the state of virtual reality, that's how it is right now. I guess none of these proto these things are marketed for release just yet. I didn't see anything about a release date on any of these.
Well, they're coming out soon. Like I think like
Oculus is next year, right?
yeah, like they're coming out like less than a year. Some of these are less than a year away, and it's scary that we don't know more about them or haven't seen anything like uh, much marketing. Like they didn't give it much stage time, which I get because it's difficult to demo virtual reality.
Yeah.
Microsoft definitely had it easier with their augmented reality. They had a real good setup and were able to show that off. And from what I've heard, it works just as well as advertised, which is great.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
less than a year. Less than a year.
It was really smart of them to market that, like show it off with Minecraft though. Because like
Yeah.
my little brother, he saw the conference and like immediately he wants that.
Right. Yeah. Well, we might even see more next month, I guess, at that Minecon
Right.
in Europe. And
That'll be interesting.
yeah.
So we got through all of our like just kind of big things that are bubbling out of E3. Like I guess in terms of the game showcase that was presented throughout the week, Bethesda started off E3 week with basically the big reveal of Fallout 4 and a couple of their slated lineup of games coming out this year in 2016. What do you guys think of Fallout 4?
I only saw the building part.
Man, you got to check it out. Fallout 4. Like prior to it, they did that trailer that I think it was the week before or something, and I was it's like, okay, that looks good. It's Fallout. Looks like fun. I'll probably play it. I wasn't too big on Fallout 3. I liked it. I just didn't. I played through it once and that was it. And then when they did this bigger reveal, more of an in-depth look, the Sunday before E3, it kind of it got me really excited, just to be in that world and the different customization of all your weapons and your base and just kind of the aesthetics of that world. And I want to play it. I'm ready. I'm glad it's coming out this year. I didn't think they were going to announce it for this year. I thought it was going to be a Q1, Q2 2016, but we got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe I was surprised it was like very, it was that far along in development that they were confident about releasing it this year. It seemed like, well, I guess that break between Skyrim and Fallout 3, they had a good amount of time to really like flesh out the game world, like all that crafting, building your own settlements and defending them was like something that took really. Sounds like it took like really long to like build that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, just surprised to see that they putting this out before Doom, which is coming out in 2016. But they also announced that modding support is going to be coming to consoles, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's about time that since these consoles are basically PCs anyway, let's get those weird community mods out to everyone and not charge for them. And yeah, I just think as long as the game doesn't launch severely broken, everyone will be
Well, I mean,
really happy.
Bethesda launches like unbroken games, right? In the past, so maybe
Yeah.
they'll continue that trend.
Yeah, except for the PlayStation 3 versions.
Yeah.
But
I still have PTSD from Skyrim.
yeah, I heard a lot of bad,
It was real bad.
a lot of bad things about that. Like, I'm glad I
But I don't
missed it.
know.
But
Maybe now that the PS4 is like a much easier to work with console,
right, yeah,
and
that's
plus
what they've been
like
saying.
it seems like lots of developers are now switching to the PlayStation 4 as the lead console to develop on.
Right, yeah,
So now it'll be at least the two versions seem like they'll be a little more equal this time around.
yeah. I hope that's the case.
Yeah. Um, I guess another big announcement because Austin, you had camped out like all night for the
Yep.
Xbox Fan Festing, and you ended up going to the Microsoft press conference, and
Yep.
you had mentioned the kind of the big thing that came out of that was backwards compatibility for Xbox
Yeah,
One. What you
that
think of
came
that?
out of left field for me. Like I Phil Spencer was just talking about like, we listened to the community and one of the biggest requests we didn't think was possible, but here it is. And then he announced backwards compatibility, and just that was kind of like the thing on the Xbox side where everyone just lost it. Like people were jumping up and down, like screaming and cheering, and you could barely hear what he had to say next or more details about it. Because yeah, that's personally, it's not too big of a deal for me because I have my 360 and it's easy to hook up if it's not already hooked up. So I'm not worried about it, but I think that's a really smart move that they put resources into accomplishing that kind of. It sounds like it's an emulation. They're emulating the entire like 360 on the Xbox One and making it really easy for developers to kind of be like, "Yep, we're gonna just say you can go ahead and put our game on the Xbox One," and then to integrate everything like you know game streaming and screenshots and all that kind of like. So it's even like a better experience than it was on the 360. I think it's really smart, and they're gonna need more stuff like that if they're gonna try and sway new console owners to their side versus PlayStation.
Yeah.
I guess my thoughts on backwards compatibility is that some of the Xbox 360 games were multiplayer games, like Gears of War. Is that going to be still in effect when you play it
Yeah,
on Xbox One?
yeah, it's full backwards compatible. Like they said, you're playing, I don't know, say yeah, you're playing Gears 3, and you want to play multiplayer. You can play with your friends on 360. You can do party chat with your friends on 360. They are emulating the 360 one to one, is what it sounds like,
Hmm.
and they just have to do like a little bit of QA, like individual kind of tweaking to each game. But yeah, it's it's pretty impressive that they're doing it. It may be a little late, but it's still refreshing to see that they're listening to the community and responding in that kind of way.
I mean, it has been like a 2 year gap since the Xbox One did release, so like if it had come earlier, that would have been more great. But it's still great to have now because a lot of I guess 360 owners are still this would entice them to go to the Xbox One because of this, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so, and especially like I don't know with games like the new Rock Band and Black Ops coming back and the new Halo, like they'll be able to just kind of bring a lot of their games over, the 360 games, and if they want their Rock Band, I know has the DLC compatibility for Rock Band 4, so yeah, I think it's a smart move to try and entice people that might not have bought an Xbox One or a PS4, kind of to lean them in the direction of Xbox.
All right. I guess now we can go on to the actual games that we were able to play at E3 2015. A lot of our meetings were very closed door. A lot of them this year were just hands-off presentations. But
Yeah.
of the games, Austin, that you played, what stood out for you?
Oh, so for me, it was Destiny. Uh, it's that
What
game
a
is kind of
surprise.
it's kind of like hooked into my brain. I know it was rough and lacking a ton of content at launch, but I'm actually pleased in how it's playing now and the direction they're taking it with the Taken King. So I got hands on with two of the new multiplayer competitive multiplayer modes, Rift and Mayhem, and I got to play all three of the new subclasses. It's you might not be sound too exciting, but the subclasses are kind of going to change the way that at least in the PvP dynamic is laid out. Like there's, the hunter has this void bow that it can do some damage. You can kill someone with it, but it's more of like a kind of like a defense or support class, where if you get the arrow in the ground around any enemy, it tethers them, slows them, and kind of denies their super. So it's a pretty powerful like zone control. And the Titan, they're throwing around hammers like Thor, and the Warlock subclass, you're basically Emperor Palpatine or whatever his name is from Star Wars with the lightning hands, and they're changing stuff for the better. And the Taken King looks pretty good, so I think I'm gonna play that a lot this year.
I mean, it's coming out like pretty soon too, right? September.
Yeah, September something. I don't know when, but yeah, kind of. They say it's gonna be bigger than Vanilla Destiny was, so
Right.
Not that would be very difficult since there wasn't much to that.
Yeah.
But the new raid, like they have being worked on, kind of. They're like, from what I've heard, when Vanilla Destiny came out, the raid team, like during development, the raid team was very much separated from the rest of the development team. So none of those kind of interesting and dynamic mechanics made its way into like the story missions or kind of any of the other strikes. So this time the teams are much more integrated, and it sounds like they're working to make for more interesting and dynamic gameplay versus just go here, have Peter Dinklage talk to you, shoot some stuff.
Is he returning for the new expansion? Do you know?
I have not heard if he will be back.
Hope not.
Sounds like a one and done.
Yeah, maybe. A lot of the other like voice actors they brought on for like the new expansions, like the House of Wolves and the Crota's End or whatever, they're really good. Like I think one of the voice actresses from the first expansion will be back. So I don't know about the Dinklage. I don't know. Destiny.
Yes, Destiny.
Destiny.
Any other games besides Destiny that you had?
So I played Ubisoft's version of Destiny, The Division.
How was that?
It is a lot like Destiny, kind of. It's not really, but it's the same core ideas. It's an RPG shooter. It's got that kind of like multiplayer that blends in. Like you'll be out in the overworld doing your missions, and you'll run into other people in the Division that you can interact with. There's just a really cool like kind of betrayal mechanic. I don't know if it's gonna be cool in reality, but the demo they showed and the demo I played, you go into these darkness zones, and you have an objective to get this loot or something, and you're on a squad of 2 or 3, and you're fighting computer controlled enemies, whatever. You're getting the loot, and then all of a sudden another crew rolls up on you, and you can choose not to shoot them, and you guys can work together and defeat the AI guys, or you can decide to just betray them and kind of murder them and try and take their loot. And so that's kind of what my demo experience just became, was me and the guy on my team trying to kill all the other player controlled teams and get as much loot as possible.
Huh. It's kind of like that heist factor, but
Yeah. I think it can be cool. Kind of like, I mean, I would do similar things in the Halo franchise, even though it wasn't designed for that. So I like that aspect of, like in Halo, we would be playing big team battle, and I'd see my team coming with a Warthog. This would be Halo 3, and I'd throw, a rocket or a trip mine or something, and just destroy the Warthog, grab the flag, and capture it for myself, kind of thing. Like that aspect
right.
of destroy your team and take all the glory can be appealing, but I think it's going to be hard to execute on that in a way that just doesn't infuriate everyone and destroy friendships.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the shooting didn't feel as good as Destiny. That's one thing I did notice. It was maybe the weapons I had just weren't ideal for the situation I was in, but yeah, it's going to take some getting used to, and maybe some refinement on their part before it launches.
So any games besides Destiny or games like Destiny that you had enjoyed?
I didn't play a whole lot. Like I said, a lot of hands-off demos.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't really discussing my experience, because most of my time was spent in meeting rooms with hands-off presentations. Some guy just walking me through a demo, and that's
Yeah.
a lot of what my preview content will be about. Just
Right.
like these hands-off things. But I did get to try out. I was at the Versus Evil booth,
Oh, right.
and they had like kind of a FTL meets Mad Max game, Bedlam.
Hmm.
It's kind of like also like Tau based, so it's reminded me of like Banner Saga. So it's sort of roguelike in that aspect, and your mission is to like get to the bottom of the map, and then in these encounters on your way to it, it's like kind of like Fury Road. If you've seen the new Mad Max movie,
Yeah.
and you go against these like marauders, and like it's like kind of like chess. So you would go, you're limited to a set amount of movements through these tiles, and then also you're limited to the class of the character that you're playing. Like if you're a sniper, you get like certain damage zone points within the tiles to like target your enemies, and then it becomes like a very like tactics based sort of gameplay. But I really enjoyed that out of the games I had played.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Do you know when that's coming out, or did they say?
Hopefully slated for release this year.
Okay.
But it's coming along very good.
Great.
So we actually had a chance to play the new Guitar Hero Live. Austin, based off your tweets and like thoughts of it, wasn't too impressed, right?
Well, I think the gameplay, like the whole kind of goofy live action, weird fake concert stuff is really really dumb in a cool way, and I like that aspect of the game. But everything kind of surrounding that, or at least because we actually got what we got to play and look at was Guitar Hero TV, and that's kind of to me that seems like, hey, we really need to find a different way to make money off this game. How can we do it? Let's do it like this. And what Guitar Hero TV is a kind of music video streaming channel that's always playing, kind of like a TV show or a TV station would be. So you tune in, you could jump in like right at the middle of the song, and you can play right there. And that stuff, I guess, is free. But then there's all these different ways to spend money. To buy like a song as DLC is not what they want you to do, but you can do that. And also, all of these DLC songs or Guitar Hero TV songs are just music videos. They're not using the master tracks, so if you miss a note, the whole song will get quieter, not just the guitar part. And that's kind of what makes these guitar games special to me, is that hearing your mistake and not hearing the rest of the band's mistake was always kind of integral to that fantasy of being a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I don't know. Mainly the microtransactions, like they haven't announced what their currency is going to cost, but there were plenty of ways to spend it. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how offensive those microtransactions are come launch.
I guess to caveat all those, it's entirely optional to buy these songs.
Yes, yes, it sure is.
So I mean, you could spend the however many dollars to
$100. $100 gets you the guitar and the game.
Right. And how is the guitar?
I liked it. Like, it's different, and it hurt my head a little bit to kind of wrap it around the 2 sets of 3 buttons. I kept wanting to use my pinky, and that messed me up a lot. But I was getting the hang of it after a couple of, maybe a song and a half. I was getting a feel for it, and it's a little confusing not having the colors to reference. They use black and white for the different rows, and then just kind of positional reference for kind of where your finger should be. And it's not as obvious at a first glance, like where your finger should be and when you should be pushing them. But I think it's just a matter of getting used to. It's not necessarily a bad move. It's just different. And I think that
seemed like that.
Yeah, I think the whole kind of like two fingers on the top row and 1 finger on the bottom row is not necessarily like you're playing a chord, but it's more in the style of how your fingers would line up when playing the actual guitar, which is it's an interesting change of design, I guess.
Yeah, and they said they weren't it because it's entirely new style gameplay. There's not going to be any DLC that from previous Guitar Heroes that would come over, because they had to totally remap all the tracks.
Yeah, it would have to take all new note chords and note tables. That's what they call those. And yeah, so I don't. They'll have to do it all from scratch if they want any new DLC in there. Yeah.
Yep. That about sums it for Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Diego, was there anything from the show that caught your eye? I guess from watching it in streams or online.
Let me think. I mean, I know everyone's loved Doom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thought it could have been a little bit faster. I mean, I think some people are exaggerating with it, saying it's too slow. I think it's a little slower than it should be, but I think it's a good speed, like at least a step forward. I thought Wolfenstein looked a bit faster, but I guess the thing that really caught my eye the most was Just Cause 3, obviously.
Oh yeah. Man.
Like I cannot get any more excited for that.
Dual grapple hooks.
That game. I just want to blow up everything in that game. Man.
And it's coming out really soon too, like December.
Yeah.
December 1st.
December 1st.
Set the world on fire.
Like, I had my friends and I were talking about it the other day, and like he was telling us how he didn't watch any E3 stuff because E3 is just full of hype trailers, and he'd rather just wait for the games
to
come out to play it. And the best part, like with Just Cause, it's not a hype trailer. it is like that. The trailer for that game is indicative of how you play because the game itself is a hype trailer because
Yeah,
that's all you do.
yeah, man. Oh, that game. Is it, guys? It's a good game. A good year for games.
It is.
2015, 2016. Video games are here.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
time, but they're here.
And I'm surprised a lot of announced release dates got, uh, or for this year, like the new Hitman, the new Just Cause 3, Fallout 4, the most surprising one. But just we have a lot of games to play
Yeah.
for
Hitman
the
sounds
rest.
weird.
Oh yeah, they're persistent, kind of always online hit contracts, community shoot stuff thing.
Yeah, like it's like digital only first, and like they're adding contracts to it as they go, and then removing them.
Yeah, that's gonna be
So it's
interesting. Yeah.
like it sounds like some sort of early access thing.
It does. It does sound like the new Hitman is more early access. Like they'll give you a certain amount of missions to
Mm,
play,
yeah.
and then they'll keep adding new missions, new contracts, throughout, I guess, later on when they do release more content updates. But it seems like the
Yeah.
initial thing will be, I guess, very light on the objectives.
Yeah. Well,
Like it sounds cool, but I worry if maybe the story itself might not work with what they're trying to do.
yeah, if they don't
Well, I
have a
know,
strong direction
yeah,
or
because
like a cohesive design.
like in the older games, like you had these big maps and you had the target, and you had all these ways to kill the target, and but from the sound of the new one, they have a big map and they're gonna be tossing in new targets every once in a while, and it
Yeah.
doesn't really make sense to have multiple targets killed the same exact way
Hmm.
unless they're going to be
Right.
adding new ways to kill
Yeah.
them.
I guess only
Because then
time
it's
will tell.
just yeah, because then it's just I did this last week with
Oh,
this
I just
dude.
gotta find some more sushi to poison for this guy because
Yeah,
he's next to the fish market. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. I'm just hoping it's gonna be a lot more open world and linear than what Absolution was in terms
All
of
right.
all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, any final thoughts on E3 before we let go?
E3. It's
It was really good.
there was yeah, a lot of video games. I've been attending E3 since 2009, and I think this was the most exciting batch of announcements. Even if they didn't personally resonate, I this was a big one, and I'm excited for the next 18 months of gaming that we have lined up. I just got to find more time.
Yeah, and hopefully it won't be so exhausting, but
Yeah.
it's my second time back since 2010, and it seems like, yeah, it's you leave the show floor at the end of the day, just just wanting to
Dead.
go
Just dead. Yeah.
wanting to go back home. Could not
Yeah.
go out to any E3 parties.
Yeah, there's tons of parties, tons of events, but just that, you know, you need to refresh. You need to kind of relax for a little bit and decompress and do what you can before starting it all over the next day.
Yeah, and hopefully we can have Diego out next year
Yeah.
for the show.
Yeah, I can cover all the parties for you guys.
Great. Great.
Well, thanks
Uh,
guys for
yeah.
joining.
Yeah.
Oh, always a pleasure.
Have a great. All right, have a great happy gaming for the rest of the year, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
All right.
Goodbye.